All right. Well, it's over. The Toronto Blue Jays season coming to a conclusion yesterday. A 3-1 loss. The Jays are swept by the Miami Marlins. Let that sink in for a bit. They finished the year 74-88, Kevin Barker. And I guess now we await, I was going to say await the fallout, if there is any fallout. It doesn't appear to be any. We know that Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins will do their media availabilities on Wednesday within half an hour of each other. I would think that suggests that Ross Atkins is definitely coming back, something that I don't think any of us are surprised about right now. We're certainly under the impression that John Schneider is going to be back as well. So, I mean, I guess if we get anything out of that news conference on Wednesday, which, by the way, will be carried live on Sportsnet 590 The Fan with Kevin and me hosting it, maybe you get a sense of, well, I mean, you'll hear apologies. You might hear where the season went wrong. Hopefully you'll get some indication of urgency in signing Vladdy Jr. Don't expect them to come out and say, I mean, it'd be great if they had a news conference and announced that they'd signed Vladdy to a contract. That would be outstanding. But I don't expect much. There is a rule, in air quotes, in Major League Baseball that teams do not make announcements on days that playoff games are being played. You've already seen today the San Francisco Giants getting rid of Farhan Zaidi. Interestingly enough, Farhan Zaidi, what was his record? I looked this up. His record as general manager wasn't enough to keep his job. 497 wins, 475 losses, 1 division title, and executive of the year. That's over 6 years. So he was gone. He's replaced by Buster Posey. And the St. Louis Cardinals have also made an announcement today. Chaim Bloom will take over as head of baseball operations in 2025. John Mozeliak will stay there. Or John Mozeliak has been replaced as head of baseball operations. Or is he here for, I got to check. Is he here for another year and then Bloom takes over? It was a little odd, the wording of it. But bottom line is, if you're making an announcement, generally, Major League Baseball prefers you. Yes, sorry, Chaim Bloom will succeed Mozeliak as head of baseball operations after 2025. So if you're going to make an announcement, today's the day to do it, or another off day in the postseason. So that would suggest, if you put 2 and 2 together, that the Blue Jays probably on Wednesday, when there will be playoff games, won't be making an announcement of any great significance.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's not shocking. I mean, I think we've seen this coming just by the way they're talking about going into the offseason, the way the president talked about the GM whenever he had his availability after the All-Star break, like the way John talks every time he comes on our show, like, he's a part of the future, and they're having conversations. They've been having conversations for the last 3 or 4 weeks or however long they've been having the conversations.
3 or 4 years. But.
So, yeah, I mean, hopefully they've been having conversations for the last 3 or 4 years. But, again, I'm in the camp. I don't care. Like, now it's to the point where it's about talent. Like, you need better talent on the field. Like that, I think the season and the way the season ended, and I joked and poked at you guys about the 75 wins.
Oh, it doesn't.
It matters. It matters when you get swept by the Marlins. Like, you can say whatever you want to say. This is why you came on.
Better if they'd won the game.
Well, not getting swept by the
75 and what would it have been then?
$235 million
75
organization getting swept by a 100-loss team. Yeah, I mean, it's not a good look. Like, it ended the way it was supposed to end. Like, Vladdy, I think is the point.
Vladdy not getting his 200.
He's trying too hard. I mean, again, if those at bats right where we stick you in the leadoff spot and we expect you to go up and get a hit right now, right this at bat, don't be afraid. Do it so you can walk off the field and everybody cheers for you. It's not the easiest thing to do. So, yeah, it's again, I said this. It's not a hard fix. Like, it's right in front of you. You know what you need. Now it's just, can you go out and get it?
Well, and I would say this too. As long as Mark Shapiro is coming back and he has a year left in his contract, getting rid of Ross Atkins, I don't think necessarily would have changed anything. You'd have basically the same process in place. You would have the same, foundation. So I think once you look at it that way, you know, would Jays fans be more comfortable if it was somebody else making the trades? I think they would. I don't think there's a lot of trust in Ross Atkins or Mark Shapiro at this point.
It will be. I would assume you would think that the president will be more involved, and I would assume if Wednesday, that would be one of the questions: is how involved will you be this offseason?
Yeah, what I was a little, it is interesting. Mark is talking first, and then Ross is talking, and that surprises me a bit because given the way last season's cluster, ended. I mean, Mark basically had to come in and clean up the mess that Ross made.
Well, it's not surprising.
So,
I mean,
I'm a little.
learned from that.
I would. Well, no, they're letting Mark speak first, and then Ross is what I'm saying. I would have let Ross go first, and then Mark.
Yeah, not me, because there's going to be some serious conversations and some serious questions, and the first guy you hear needs to be the guy that has all the right answers. And I would think they learned from that.
Yeah, I think you're wrong.
And the one, not for me.
The last, because you know as well as I do. What's your confidence level in Ross getting through that news conference without saying something that's going to piss everybody off?
I'm sure it's been rehearsed, and he'll answer the question the way he's rehearsed it and the way the organization wants him to.
It's almost like debate
relay
prep,
the
debate prep for the vice presidential debate.
Absolutely. I mean, again,
wonder which one of them would be J.D. Vance.
If you're buying season tickets in the off season, you're wanting to hear from the guy making the calls, and I would assume this off season that would be the president of the Blue Jays. So that's at least who I want to hear from, and would like to hear about the Vladdy situation and how serious are you guys about going out and getting a legit offensive player?
The Braves and the Mets are going at it right now in this rescheduled doubleheader. And it's quite a game. The Mets are currently leading 8-7 with one out in the ninth inning. If the Mets win, they go through to the playoffs. The Braves, they will play the second game. And basically, if the Mets win, they go on to face the Padres. And then it comes down to either the Braves winning the second game to advance to play San Diego, or if they lose the second game, the Arizona Diamondbacks get in. I think I basically got that right. But this has been
you were all over it.
This has been quite the game.
If they split, they both get in.
Yeah.
If one sweeps, the Padres get in, or the Diamondbacks get in.
This has been quite the game. Ozzie Albies. First of all, the Mets came back with a 6-run inning when they were down 3-0. Ozzie Albies cleared the bases with a double to give the Braves a lead. And Francisco Lindor, MVP. Yeah. Francisco Lindor stepped up and cranked the 2-run homer. So the Mets are leading 8-7. The tying run is on second base, and there are 2 outs. And that is still Edwin Diaz. Edwin Diaz has thrown 35 pitches. Now, the thing, this is not – what this does is it forces the Braves to use Chris Sale in Game 2.
Yeah.
And, that's –
I think they just wanted a chance. With everybody that's been hurt on their team, the way their whole entire season has been, you just want an opportunity to try and fight your way into the playoffs. And that's sort of what both these teams are having a chance of doing. I mean, Diaz now has thrown in the last 2 days almost 70 pitches. I mean, that's a lot for a closer, and you can tell he's trying to grind through that. Edwin Encarnacion used to always tell me, that's what whenever I was watching the Lindor bat, he said, when at-bats matter, sit spin. Sooner or later, you're going to get one right down the middle. What did Lindor get? He looked like he's sitting on it because of where it ended up. If you're not sitting on a breaking ball, on a breaking ball, he pulls that foul. But he hit that to right center because he was sitting on spin. I mean, it's the way the elite offensive players who are having those kind of years go up and have those certain at-bats in certain situations. And Johnson will tell you, not everybody can close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that is
he'll tell you that. I mean, he looked like a guy normally. C.J. Nikowski was saying there, we hadn't seen his breaking ball look that bad in forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not everybody
different
close.
Animal, not different animal closing out a game. It
everybody's
really is.
Watching you.
It really is. So the Mets are down to their last strike here, and it is Edwin Diaz, as we said, on the mound against Travis d'Arnaud, who hit a walk-off home run on Saturday. So and this is just a primer. The first round of the playoffs are always terrific. So we'll have our playoff predictions at 5:30, and Travis d'Arnaud just grounded out to end that game. The Mets are off to the playoffs. Wow.
MVP.
There's Pete Alonso. He looked pretty good first base for the.
I think he wants to be a Met.
So there you go. The Mets are in. The Braves need to win to advance. And again, that game starts in about half an hour. I think it's on Sportsnet. Let's go back to the Blue Jays. Caleb Joseph will join us at 4:30. Jayson Stark at 5 o'clock. We'll talk at 5:30. We'll give you some of our postseason observations, our postseason predictions. So we talked about Vladdy. He didn't get his 200th hit. The Jays let him off yesterday with hopes of getting him as many at-bats as possible. He got a couple of walks and was taken out of the game, got an ovation. But really, other than that, I was thinking last night after we did Blue Jays talk, I was saying, okay, list some positives. List some positives. Vladdy's season was a positive. I looked and looked and looked, and I came up with Bowden Francis. And the fact that this organization, once again, managed to stay healthy. They lost fewer games to injuries this year than any team in baseball, even with Bo Bichette out as long as he was. And that's about as far as I got. And then I started thinking to myself, this team was really healthy and bad. That, it kind of tells you about the talent level when you can't point and go, well, they had bad luck with injuries. The pitching, they had some bad luck with injuries, clearly with Romano and with Jimmy Garcia for a while. But the lineup, which wasn't able to do much, was largely healthy.
Yeah, I think there was some more. I think Chad Green had a good season. I think Jose Barrios had a good season. I think Alejandro Kirk's second half sort of solidified that he can catch a lot of games.
Chad Green had a good season.
Yeah, I think so. I think, it's not his fault they didn't have a closer. Like, he's doing what he's told. Like, he had 15 saves in a row at one time. Like, yeah, he had a good season. Like, absolutely. Look at his ERA, how many outs he got. Like, he's okay in the 6th, 7th, and 8th inning, just not the 9th inning. Like, absolutely, he is a part of your bullpen going forward. You're being a little too hard on you got to remember these seasons are marathons. They're not sprints, and guys are trying to work through things. You could say that about an old rotation, like the things they did just to give a team a chance to be competitive when those games didn't really matter. It's not the easiest thing to do. They didn't sign up for this. And for them to come out and make adjustments and go out and actually look like they cared, it doesn't always work that way. You've been around baseball long enough, and I've been in enough clubhouses to know that dudes that are making tons of money and are struggling with the season that they're having, it's not always the easiest thing for them to go out and do.
I expected that from the pitchers. That doesn't surprise me at all from Gossman, Barrios, and Bassett. Not at all.
Okay.
I mean, the team may be awful, but you are the pitcher, and you are the guy standing out there, and it's your ass that's going to be handed, if you don't pitch well. I'm not saying that there's – I guess what I'm saying is things that give me a lot of optimism for next year. There wasn't – Alejandro Kirk was okay. Good enough to the point that I hope he hits 8th for me next year.
Yeah.
But I don't – I'm trying to look at this and say, okay, what would give me hope?
You can't walk away from seeing Alejandro Kirk the last 2 months and go, man, I never want to see him catch for the Blue Jays again.
Of course not.
Okay, then that's a plus. Like that's a positive thing moving forward because of how many things they have to do in the offseason to be competitive next year. You mentioned that the Rays are going to be better. The Red Sox will be better. So the competition in the American League East is going to get a little tougher. So that's if you're searching for sort of silver linings with guys that, you quite frankly been babying forever and you've been telling them because of the way they look, they can't go out and play every single day. For me, he did that. Like, he showed up for the most part. His at-bats got better. He looked like he could catch up to velocity. The more he played, the better he looked offensively. You couldn't throw it by him. He was using the entire field. He called a decent game. Most of the time he was throwing better. Like, that's a positive going forward. That, for me, is one of those now you could, if it's okay to have a Heineman behind him to start the season, I don't care. I can fix that in season. Now, because I've seen Kirky do this, it gives me at least enough confidence going forward that I'm okay next year, him going at least 4 days a week. So, yeah, you got to I don't know.
I'll give you that. I'll give you Kirk.
I mean, there's a few things. Horowitz, he opened some eyes. I mean, Will Wagner, everybody's jumping on that bandwagon. I'm not really, but if you like that, yeah, like I think that'd be okay if you went out and got you somebody that could play third, who could thump and hit fourth or fifth, somebody who could DH or play left or right, who could thump and hit fourth or fifth. You're okay with Will Wagner. He just can't hit second for you and be sort of him, Ernie Clement playing third, and Loperfido playing left. Like, those things can't happen. So I think hopefully they are watching the game exactly the way we were watching it. So maybe that's something you can take away that's a positive too, right? You don't have to overthink this. You watch the games. You know who can be a part of this, at least to start the season today.
Of all the players they brought up, or they acquired at the deadline, how many of them do you want to see in the everyday lineup next year?
None of them. Everyday lineup? None of them. Ernie's my fifth guy. Will Wagner will probably be that just because they can't bring in an entire team.
Right.
He'll be one of the guys.
Yeah.
But it can't be Horowitz playing first, Vladdy playing third, Ernie Clement getting a bunch of playing time, and Will Wagner playing second. That's not how you compete at the highest level with a high payroll. That ain't the case. So this is just me. The ends would be Horowitz, Nathan Lucas, Ernie Clement, and Wagner. Not to start the season is the obvious guys. Right in front of you, you see it play out. I don't have to, by projections, I don't have to hook them up to a computer to know this. Barger, Clase, Loperfido, Schneider, and Jimenez. You all know those guys to start the season should not be on your team.
Yeah.
It's real simple. Like, it's nothing against these guys. They've opened eyes. They've shown you that they could be big leaguers and they could be a part of it, but not to start the season. Like, you have to get off to a good start. Playing from behind in the East is not the easiest thing to do. And you can't expect them to bring in so much horsepower that they can play catch up all year. So you got to hit the ground running, not walking, crawling, moonwalking, running. And to do that, you have to just open your eyes and go, what I've seen the last 2 months, this could be a part of it. Hopefully, all of those Horowitz, Nathan Lucas, Ernie Clement, and Wagner, all of them know, but you'd be okay with a couple of them to start the season if you go out and add what you're supposed to add and pay the right people to come in here and hit the top 5 spots of the order. We've talked about this forever. Like, none of these guys can hit fourth or fifth for you. That includes Kirky. That includes Horowitz, any of these guys. Mm-hmm. So hopefully they know that going forward and they can go out and fix it. And, it's like the Springer. He's not a leadoff hitter anymore. I mean, he's a great guy. He's a great teammate. But for you to hit the ground running next year, you want him getting the first at bat of the season? I don't. Hopefully they've noticed that. I'm not saying he's not a part of your team because of what kind of person he is, the way he plays defense, and how much you're paying him. But you probably can't lead him off if you want to compete at the highest level. So those are just some things, right, that are right in front of you. You've seen it play out, and hopefully they saw the same thing that we were seeing and can go out and add some pieces and make this team a little bit better. How's that?
Now you made me feel optimistic.
It's not optimistic. It's just –
no, I will say
baseball is not rocket science like they'd like to try and turn it into. It's just not. Like, every once in a while you just get guys who've been around and watched baseball for a long time and go, I see that guy. I want to make a run at this next season. I have to get off to a good start. I have to be real about this. My internal projections, I can't let this play out forever. I got to make my mind up right now. And hopefully they've done this with most guys. This is what I said. If you're married to Will Wagner already with 80 at-bats, more power to you. He just can't hit second, and he can't be the one piece that's going to flip your season around to start the season next year. So those are the kind of things, right? It's just you need a closer. Chad Green's not your closer. Hopefully they see that, right? I've talked to people around the team. Most of the people know that. He's a part of the team. You put him in the right pocket, he can get you some key outs and some key spots, just not the ninth inning. So it's little things like that, right?
Yeah. It's, well, as I said, we'll see what, the process of selling the 2025 season starts on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we'll see what the messaging's like. I just, at this point, I don't know, other than we're getting rid of the entire front office, I don't know what would make people happy right now. Signing Vladdy would make people happy. You have to. I understand that Mark's philosophy is the most important thing is that the team wins. Winning baseball guarantees people, doesn't guarantee, but winning baseball usually means people will come to your park to watch your team play. You can have Vladdy winning the Triple Crown on a last place team, and you're not going to fill that place. So I get what, but the sort of the logical conclusion is, well, then sign Vladdy and build the winning team around Vladdy. And I think that's the way most fans would accept things. If you said to them, we're going to sign Vladdy and we're going to go out and we're going to add some pieces, I think people would say, okay. But I don't know how you sell people on, trust us, we're going to add more offensive pieces, but don't ask us about signing Vladdy because it's
a tough sell.
It's a very tough sell.
It is.
It's a very tough sell. And it's not. You can't be tone deaf about this. You've got to figure out a way to massage the message. And see, I think you can do that when you got 3 years left before a guy becomes a free agent. Maybe you could have done it last year, but I don't think with 1 year left, you can kind of say, don't worry, we'll get this taken care of.
Yeah. Do you have any idea where they're at in their organization? Like, if they don't sign Vladdy, do you have any idea, like, are they tearing it down soon? Are they trying to keep this going? Or are they trying to stay competitive? They have to pivot now. Because they're trying to be a different kind of team, right? They want to be a run-producing team and a run-preventing team at the same time. How do you do that? It can't be the easiest thing to buy into when you've already bought into being a run-preventing team, right?
They are in the draft lottery this year. So, fingers crossed that turns out. Although, again, baseball drafted,
it's impossible to always get right.
Well, generally you should get when you're drafting. If you're drafting top 5 or something like that, you should be able to. You should
every
be able
once
to
in a while. You should hit a homer.
Pick out, somebody. Hopefully, if you get a pitcher, you can keep him healthy for 2 consecutive seasons.
Well, try something different and get you a position player. How about that?
Yeah. But no, organizationally, there's a whole lot of Jonathan Class A's. And does that scream the next window? Doesn't for me right now. But I do feel better about the minor league system now than I did at the start of the year. At least they seem to have some guys who it would not shock the living hell out of me if in 2 years Jonathan Class A is playing every day. That wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me if Will Wagner is. Even Joey Loperfido. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. Well, last year you'd go through that organization, you'd say, I just can't see that guy playing every day. I just can't see that guy playing every day. I can't see that guy playing every day. I can see that guy staying healthy enough to pitch.
Yeah.
And that is a change that does give me a lot of optimism. But it gets back to, do you trust the guys at the top who are doing the planning and the execution?
I think you got to get past that. They're going to be here. I think you got to get past that. You got to, they will. It will be easier to trust. Yeah,
you'll get past it.
Because you're a baseball guy. I'm a baseball guy. I've been around this forever.
Fans won't get past it.
Well, they will if they start signing the people they're supposed to sign and then bring in people after they sign them. Like that, that'll be the easiest way to go. And I think you missed one of the points, too, about the guys that they do have now that you can sprinkle around the minor leagues. You got tradable pieces. If you need an 8th and 9th inning guy, I'm not saying you're going to get a Miller out of any of these guys, but you could get somebody a little, under a Miller that could come in here and be better than what you already got in the 8th and 9th inning, which is not the easiest innings to pitch in. So
Look,
That's
I
part
mean,
of it.
I'm looking at a team like the Mets going to the playoffs. They picked up guys like Ryan Stanek. This is the thing. This is what drives me nuts about the whole bullpen thing. I know we're up against the clock here, and we're going to have Caleb Joseph. This is what drives me nuts about the bullpen. Is every team in baseball this year has picked up somebody. Almost every team in baseball this year has picked up somebody off the waiver wire that's mattered, that's made a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jays will say, well, we got Ryan Burr, and his numbers are good. Ryan Burr gives you no confidence. I mean, he gives you no confidence. He pitched well in a team that was out of it. He pitched decently in a team that was out of it. That's the thing about the Jays acquisitions. First of all, it came too late. And secondly, they're just guys. They were just guys. They're the idea that you were going to be depending on Brendan Little and Ryan Burr, that they were somehow going to take you in the playoffs. It's just not on.
It's not on. Yeah, I'm assuming too. If you really asked them,
that surprises me because this organization. I said this, and I will maintain this. Ross Atkins has done an okay job putting bullpens together in season. He has.
Now, if if you're a good talker, you could say about the time they were going through all the injuries that mattered in the pen, the starting rotation wasn't real good. Like they were going, if you were a good talker, because if I were running this and I didn't do anything and I was a decent talker and did my homework, that's the answer I'd have for you.
My answer to that would be,
didn't add up.
Well, my answer to that would be have some freaking faith. Have some faith in your starting. Here's the thing. Have some faith in you had faith in your bullpen, which was just misplaced faith. It was the idea that all these guys were going to come back and be good 3 years in a row, it was just misplaced.
There you go.
So if you didn't have faith in your starting rotation, like that's what I would say. I would say, I don't care if the starting rotation was wobbly then. You didn't think they were going to get better? I mean, I thought they were going to get better.
Me too.
Or put it this way, I thought the chances of them getting better were a hell of a lot better than the chances of the bullpen getting better.
Yeah, you take pride in predicting the future. You should have been able to predict that, getting into the playoffs wasn't going to be the hardest things this year. Right, there you go. That's all, all these organizations try and do now is predict the future.
84 games, man. That's the other thing that is just, anyhow, maybe somebody will ask Mark or Ross that, did you guys punt too early? And they'll probably say, no, we would never punt. We always thought we had. But anyhow, Caleb Joseph is our Blue Jay Central analyst on Sportsnet.
Bottom of that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, didn't we? Finger painting. That's Alex talking right now?
You said there was one person that had a good year on this thing.
Well, no, I didn't.
That's basically what you said.
I did. Well, Vlad, and I thought
that's
Bowden
it.
France. But the rest of them,
that's
it.
I mean,
okay, that was a nice year for Alejandro Kirk. We now realize
Barrios had a good year. Chad Green had a good year.
We now realize that Alejandro Kirk is capable of starting 4 to 7 days.
Nathan Lucas
really
did
good.
enough to be the center fielder starting next year. Like,
all right, we got a break. We got a break, Caleb. Oh, you're okay. Well, our producer, Mark Boffo, just got in my ear. That's why Alex Anthopoulos is on TV right now. Chris Sale has been scratched for Game 2 with back spasms. So
if you're the Diamondbacks right now, you're
on the charter.
Oh,
you're getting ready.
Oh, you're packing up, boy.
Of course, knowing
the Mets they're drunk already.
They are. Yeah. The Mets are drinking.
They are.
Anyhow, we're going to take a break and come back. Talk about drama, and the playoffs haven't even started yet.
This is why I love baseball.
It's great. This is what happens when 84 wins will get you into the playoffs.
Yeah, look how white his beard is. That's why.
Alex?
Oh yeah, it's gray. It's silver.
Just imagine how white it would be. Anyhow, we'll move on. Caleb Joseph joins us next. It's Blair and Barker on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and Sportsnet. All right, welcome back to Blair and Barker. A reminder, we will shift to 3 to 4 Eastern tomorrow. 1 hour of quality entertainment on Sportsnet 360 and Sportsnet 590 The Fan. We'll do that through the duration of the postseason. On Wednesday, Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins do their media availability. We will be hosting that starting sometime around 11 a.m. on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. If you are just joining us right now, the New York Mets beat the Atlanta Braves 8-7 in the first game of their doubleheader this afternoon. The Mets are off to the postseason. The Braves need to win to go into the postseason as well. Alex Anthopoulos just doing a news conference between games 1 and 2 and just announcing that Chris Sale has been scratched for game 2 with back spasms. Grant Holmes will go for the Braves as they try to extend. They try to
next
extend
man
their
up
season.
mentality. It's what you got to have this time of the year.
So anyhow, that's where we are. Chris Sale scratched for game 2. Grant Holmes getting the start for the Braves. Let's bring in Caleb Joseph. He's our Blue Jays Central analyst on Sportsnet. How you doing, Caleb?
Happy end of the season, guys.
Yeah, it's the end of the season. I don't know. Happy might be.
It's happy.
It's happy. That's
it's
true.
happy,
We're
Caleb.
all alive. We're all alive.
For the
We're all
first time,
alive.
I think they got a true way to go now. It's right in front of them. They don't have to overthink this. They know what they need now.
It's coming at them like a train.
How about that?
It's right in front of them.
There's no questions now.
It's right in front of them. It's the 640 out of Union Station coming right at them.
Right at them.
Hey,
Just hop on.
hey, Caleb.
There you go.
Absolutely.
See, I
Let's
like
hop on.
that.
Hey, this is a team that went 7-17 in September without any pressure on it at all. They got swept by the Marlins. Do we read anything into that? The fact that, the fact that this team just couldn't beat bad teams with no pressure on it. I mean, I can't put it any other way. They couldn't beat them.
Yeah, in terms of do you take stock into it, I think it just solidifies the fact that they did not have the greatest of seasons. And a lot of times you want to end on a good note and you want to give a little bit of enthusiasm to the fan base. But I think it was fitting and kind of par for the course in terms of, you know what, it's been a disappointment and there's been some bright spots. But at the end of the day, at the end of the season, it was a disappointment.
A good note. Can Kirk catch a lot?
If I am giving him my observation, I am saying that he would be maxed out at 100 games. I think if you try and push him past 100 games, he is not going to be able to produce with the bat the way that the Blue Jays might need him or project him to do. I think they're going to have a more of a split time type of deal like they've had with Danny Jansen. It's a question mark. It's a risk, and that's a position and a spot I'm not willing to take a risk at. Plus, if Kirk goes down, who's your second catcher?
Yeah, this is, look, I said at the start when Kevin and I were BSing, I said I searched long and hard to find
Well, you were. I wasn't.
I searched long and hard to find some reasons for optimism, and I came up with Vladdy and
One
Bowden
person.
Francis. Well, okay, I may have been stretching it a little bit because Jose Barrios did have a terrific year. But you know what? He had the type of year I assume Jose Barrios was going to have. He stayed healthy and he pitched well. That's fine. Spencer Horwitz had a nice year. Certainly, we saw a lot of him. But I look at everything else, and I'm trying to look at it as a fan here, and I'm trying to say what gives me hope for next year. And the only thing I come up with really is the fact that I do know my ownership has shown it will spend money. The question is who's going to be spending the money, I guess, is the question.
Yep, no doubt about it. I think the base is good enough to add supplemental pieces to get you optimistic as a Blue Jays fan. Am I optimistically thinking they're going to win the World Series? Not 100% sure. But in terms of being competitive enough to think, you know what, I'm excited for spring. I'm excited for 2025 Blue Jays baseball. I think it's going to depend on who they sign. There's enough there, I think, that can make it competitive. But this is a massive chess piece. If this guy's signed, then maybe you keep that guy. If that guy isn't signed, you have to go get this guy. And this is a very complex situation when it comes to roster construction. For me, the biggest optimism is going to be because of who they sign, not who they're returning.
Right.
If you were sort of trying to help out Yariel Rodriguez in the offseason, I want you to simplify this. Don't overwhelm him with stuff. You can tell, sometimes it looks like he don't sort of relate to that. It's real simple, right? I get the sign. I try and finish the way I want it to finish. To-do list. Give me 2 of them to simplify it to where he comes back next year and he's more predictable.
He's got to answer one of two questions. Am I a power pitcher or am I a finesse pitcher? Am I Kevin Gausman or am I Chris Bassett? Kevin Gausman's kind of in your face with that fastball split, can wrinkle in the slider. Or am I Chris Bassett that I'm going to have to nibble around the zone, they take different shapes, use different arm angles, change a lot of different speeds to be effective? He's got to answer that question, because for me, he lays in that gray area of sometimes I'm a power guy and then sometimes I'm trying to trick you. And for me, if I'm catching him, and I've seen his bullpens live, and let me tell you, he has every reason to think and believe that he should be a power guy. So that's number one. Then number two is simplify the arsenal and the delivery. So we've named what you're going to be. Now, how do we get there? One arm angle, one motion, and one speed with 3, maybe 4 different pitches. The pitches for me is that kind of natural cut fastball. I like the use of the split. Get used to seeing and using that split finger, a hard downer slider, and then the fourth pitch can be a hybrid between a little sinker here and there to back up right-handed hitters or a get me over curveball. Simplify the windup and then go and master those 3 pitches, and I guarantee he's going to have a good season.
Offensive side, I'll flip it and ask you the same question. Joey Loperfido, to-do list, 2 things. I need you to simplify it. What are you doing and telling him to sort of work in that direction that will give you a chance to make our team going into next year?
Well, his best chance for me, if I'm an evaluator, is hoping that they don't sign Santander, they don't sign a number of different guys. I mean, to be honest with you, it's a risk.
Yep.
And you can have risks in the lineup and you can have risks on the field if it's supplemented with some big old boy thumpers. And that's how just these teams operate. But if I'm Loperfido, you've got to get more relaxed, okay? You've got to find a way to get more relaxed, and you've got to find a way to not be so crossfire with your delivery, because as soon as you're crossfire, and remember, he's coming from Houston where a lot of those guys have been crossfire. What I mean by that is that lead foot kind of steps in towards the plate. The back foot would be angled a little bit backwards, and they use a move called the scissor move where the back foot then slides underneath to help direction. The problem is if you don't slide that back foot underneath like Jose Altuve does, watch him when he strides towards the plate and his back leg scissors out. If you don't scissor that foot, you have no direction. The move, natural move of that scissor is holding his direction. If you stride across and then you fly the hips, boy, you're in bad shape. So it's a move that a lot of those guys at Houston do, but it doesn't seem like it's a natural move for Loperfido. So for me, I'm squaring him up. I'm getting him a lot more relaxed. I'm getting him to stand up and just hold the bat there, super relaxed. Then I want him loading into that backside and use his quick twitch muscles. I feel like he's not using the quick twitch because he's so tense at the plate.
You know, Caleb, you know Bo pretty well. Obviously, you know Vlad. You've spent time around these guys. How will they both handle being in the final year of a contract before free agency? Is it going to be an issue? Is there going to be motivation? I mean, look, it can go either way, right? We've seen guys use it as motivation, kind of a chip in the shoulder. You know, we've seen other guys, sometimes it gets in their head a little bit and they press. I mean, Pete Alonso's talked about how he's been, he's been thinking about it this year. He admits he's been thinking about it this year. How do you think they'll handle it?
Yeah, I think it depends on how you're wired and kind of what your end game is. Some guys do chase like that big, huge number. And of course, everybody's trying to make the most money they can, but some guys chase the real stardom, the 300-something million, 400-something million dollar contract. And I feel like Vladdy's in that camp, whereas I think Bo can be a 6-figure, a 9-figure, so to speak, type player. But I think he's more motivated by internal things like winning, being on a winning team. And so it's different factors for different players. I could see it not bothering Bo as much as it would Vladdy, because Vladdy's kind of chasing the moon. I feel like Bo is going to get there because he's self-motivated, but his more focus will be about trying to win the game. Mm-hmm. And not saying that Vladdy doesn't do that, but they're going to set lofty goals for each other, or oneself, so to speak, and they're going to go for it. But if one was to possibly press a little bit more, I would say it has the potential to be Vladdy. But I will say him having this season, this year, was massive. Had he not had this year and then be coming into this next offseason, coming off of a season much like the last 2 or 3, he would really be pressing because then he'd still be trying to chase that 2021 season. Now he's coming into it knowing, all right, I'm confident. Everybody didn't think I could do it. I wasn't even sure I could do it. I replicated it. I know it's in there. I know my routine. Now I'm just going to go do it again. And so I think it could work both ways for Vladdy as he really tries to get that big payday.
Is next year's leadoff hitter in the organization?
It's possible. I mean, everything that I'm hearing is that Will Wagner can be the opening day second baseman and possibly the leadoff hitter. Look, I like what Will Wagner brings. I'm not going to poo-poo on his skills. I called his first major league game with Buck Martinez, and he hit every pitch possible, and he hit it on the barrel. I love the possibility. I love the projection that he brings. But the problem is that I have is, again, it's 85 at-bats, I believe. It's just a lot of risk. And do I think he can do it? Yes. But am I willing to risk him not being able to do it? I really think it takes about 250 at-bats for the league to adjust. And so with that being said, we haven't seen him adjust to anything. And I do think he has the ability to do that because he has a lot of mobility in his swing and adjustability. He's not just a one-plane, one type of guy swing. But if you're going to have him in the lineup, then my question is, where does Spencer Horwitz fit in? Because to have both of them on the right side of the infield, 2 left-handed hitters, that to me tells me that you haven't signed a Santander or an Alonso or a big-time bat that's on the market, and now you're trying to play the matchup game. So if you want Will Wagner as your second baseman and leadoff hitter, you've probably traded Horwitz for some big-name somebody. He's not on the team, in my opinion, and you've signed Santander and Alonso. So he's cushioned, and he's okay to not be expected to do too much too early after just 85 at-bats in the big leagues.
Caleb, one of the guys that I think when the Jays did make their moves at the trade deadline, a lot of people found intriguing was Jonathan Clase. We got to see a little bit of him at the end of the year. We know he can run. We know he's aggressive. What are you hearing about him, and what was your first impression of him, both as a hitter and defensively?
Yeah, impressive, I would say. The quick twitch is obviously there, and you see the tools, you see the excitement that the organization feels about the player, and it's one of these situations. You got to decide: are you in the business of winning baseball games at the major league level right now, or are you trying to do a hodgepodge of develop at the major leagues, hope at the major leagues, project at the major leagues, or are you going for known players? So I love what he brings, but again, it's the exact same conversation as Wagner. If I want him on the team, it's a question mark. We have no idea what he's going to do. I wouldn't mind him as a kind of bench platoon role on a team that's not really trying. Actually, if you're on a team that's not really trying, he's starting every day. So when you ask yourself, what are we doing as an organization, you got a couple options. Well, if you're going to have him on the team, he's got to play because, in my opinion, he's a prospect. So that means you haven't signed somebody else. That means you're going down depth charts B and C because you didn't sign Santander or whoever or Teoscar Hernandez or whatever. This is backup options. If you are to sign the big-name guys, I think they should. They need a big-timer in left field, no doubt about it. Can't miss left fielder. Can't miss. Then in my terms, Class A is in AAA because you want him playing every day. I don't know if the defense is sufficient enough right now to be a platoon guy. That's where I might lean more towards a Nathan Lucas because he's older, more trustworthy, more experienced. And it's okay if he doesn't play every day because he's kind of maxed out in terms of his, quote, prospect status.
Yeah, he's predictable. That's what you need right to start the season. You need guys who are predictable. It make it easier for your manager, your pitching coach, your hitting coaches, however many there are, in your organization to make the right move. Bowden Francis wants to throw harder in the offseason. Is that a good idea?
Oh, mercy. There was a saying that said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's what I say.
He's at the point. I talked about 250 at-bats in the big leagues. I think this stretch, he got to the point where teams made an adjustment. And guess what he did? He made another adjustment. And so he's proven that he can do that. Is it going to help him? Velocity never hurts. But when you take an older guy that's done it a certain way, and he is a little bit older, and now you want it You want to get a little bit better. Sometimes the pursuit of being a little bit better accidentally takes away from your strengths. And I had coaches all the time that said, don't forget your strengths. Don't forget what got you here. Well, he had an entire half of a season worth of strengths and video to be shown on his laptop and iPad. And for me, I thought it was good enough. Could it be that he adds more velocity and is even more effective? Absolutely. If he can do that while staying in his rhythm, while staying in his timing, while keeping the touch and feel for the other pitches, have at it. He is an older guy. Maybe he can do it. But when I hear that guys are chasing velo, my goodness, that to me is an immediate that they're lacking in something else, and I don't think he's lacking anything else. So I don't. Hey, if you can, great, go ahead. But if you're trying to chase more velo, that kind of conversation gets a little bit hairy for me.
Mm-hmm. Caleb, really good of you to join us. As always, we appreciated your insight. We appreciate your insight. You know that, and we'll be talking again through the playoffs.
Yeah, be safe on your flight. Yeah. We'll see you soon, buddy.
Yeah, travel safely, my friend.
You guys are the best. Blue Jays fans are lucky to have you. You guys are very knowledgeable, very, very fun to talk to, and great season. You two, you kept it interesting for all of us during such a terrible season. So thank you guys for all your hard work.
Nice.
I appreciate
Thanks,
it,
buddy.
Caleb. Those are really nice words. And the check,
You're the best.
The check is in the mail. Thank you.
Venmo is at Caleb Joseph. You can go ahead and Venmo me for that plug.
Chipotle.
I will. Yeah, Chipotle. We'll pay you in Chipotle gift certificates. How about that? We can't say that. They're not a sponsor.
Or not, yeah.
Take care. Hit him straight and far. Isn't that what you tell golfers?
I don't golf.
See you, boys.
See you, buddy.
Interesting insight from Caleb about Joey Loperfido in particular. And you'd mentioned the point that when you watched him, I think the second time we actually talked about him, you said he just looks tense to you at the plate.
Yeah. And then when you see him miss fastballs, it's sort of, again, it's about who you're around, right? I tried to, when I first got called up, I was at the Brewers. I tried to be Jeff Jenkins, kicking it to my ear and taking Big Daddy hacks and hitting balls to the moon. I couldn't do that. Like, I'd jam myself. I wouldn't get my foot down on time. You can tell he's been around Altuve. He's been around Tucker. Mm-hmm. They step towards the home plate. That's very hard to do because what that does is it makes you cast. Forces your hands away from your body, and then point of contact is very erratic. Sometimes it's there, and sometimes you look like you've never swung a bat before. Who's that look like? So that's the thing, right? It's the internal projections of what they think he's going to turn into. Now, he's an athlete. I mean, that you can't teach that. He's got it. Like, he can play center. Mm-hmm. He can run. He runs good routes. He's got a good arm. I'd like to see him run after the ball till he catches it. I'd like to see that a little bit better. But it's just, where would he fit in starting the season next year? You'd be okay if he doesn't make a big change mechanically with direction for him to be a fourth outfielder, a somewhat DH. I just, again, he's not predictable. And this is the thing, right? That, for me, in the offseason, that's the word. Get dudes who are predictable.
Will Wagner leading off?
Oh, it's not for me. I'm not giving Will Wagner one more bat in Vladdy or Bo. Not a chance. I know khakis love that dude, and they are drooling over him. Good for them. Not me. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not a fan of his. As long as he's hitting eighth or ninth, he can play second as long as he wants to play second. More power to him. I mean, you got to have some unknowns, right? You got to have some surprises.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he's it. First or second in your order?
That would be a surprise.
Well, not for them, it sounds like.
Jayson Stark joins us next. He's with The Athletic. We'll take a look around Major League Baseball, talk about the national perspective on the Jays. It's Blair and Barker on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and Sportsnet. All right, we are back. The final hour of our 2-hour Blair and Barker. Starting tomorrow, we'll be going 3 to 4, right through the end of the postseason.
Traffic's bad at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, because it's so much better at 5 or 6. Or 2.
That's debatable.
Or 1. Or 3.
Or 24
it's
hours.
Toronto. There's traffic. There's traffic. So we're on 3 to 4 starting tomorrow for the rest of the postseason. Wednesday we'll be hosting the Mark Shapiro Ross Atkins show starting around 11 o'clock. Well, I know our show will be good. I don't know if the news conference will be good. I mean, I have faith in our show. but
we'll make it up.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I am.
What kind of ratings do you get on this show here?
Yeah, thank you, Gibby. Hey, congratulations, John Gibbons in the
How
New York
about
Mets. Yeah,
that?
Gibby worked his magic in that game.
Yeah.
I saw that.
I mean, the last time he's on, he said it's the easiest gig he's ever had. He does absolutely nothing.
I mean, I did notice
his words, not mine.
I did notice that in game one. I mean, he does not get a lot of camera time as the bench coach with the Mets.
I mean, he said I am still in the check. Good for him.
Keep it short, will you?
The Mets have won. They're off to the postseason. They're playing the Braves right now. At least the guys who are still sober are playing the Braves right now. Braves win, and they will go after the postseason as well. Chris Sale was scratched from the start with back spasms. Alex Anthopoulos came out and announced it between games.
That's what you're supposed to
do.
do.
And did like a 25-minute news conference.
That's what you're supposed to do when you're playing at home, the last game of the season that matters the most.
Yes.
To your fan base, you need the boss telling everybody why he's not pitching.
Yeah, I just figured I'd
That's that. I know it. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
Yes.
So anyhow, that game is on Sportsnet. That game is on Sportsnet right now. But you don't have to turn over because we'll tell you.
Well, Jeff's pretty good at play-by-play. Every half inning he's giving counts.
I don't know about that. So what else do I have to say? So we did that. Shai Davidi will join us Wednesday as well. So we'll break down. We'll be on 3 to 4 Wednesday in addition to hosting the Mark Shapiro.
Write it down.
Ross Atkins media availability in the morning.
It's the first thing that goes, I heard.
No, it's not. It's maybe the third thing that goes.
What's the second one?
You don't want to know.
What's the second one?
You don't want to know. You don't want to know.
Pretty sure I know what the first one is. What's the second one?
No, you definitely don't. You definitely don't want to know. So anyhow, that is the schedule as we move ahead through the postseason. We'll give you some of our postseason picks and observations at 5:30. Hopefully, they're better than the ones we made at the start of the year.
I think I picked all the teams that are in it. I think I picked every single one of them.
I got to go back and look.
Except the Tigers.
I think I had the Braves winning the World Series.
I don't think I picked the Guardians. I'm pretty sure I screwed up the Central. I picked the Twinkies because they're an easy pick. And you would think the Guardians, new manager, and they just don't hit all the time. And they're not a lot of fun to root for a lot of the time. So
I don't know.
That's why I think it is.
I mean, if you like power pitching, I love watching their bullpen.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of what I've been watching all year here, but I like watching guys that come out and go at guys.
Naylor's a pretty good. He's a fun at bat. Obviously, that dude that plays third, he's pretty fun at bat. And then there's everything else.
Class A is fun to watch.
You're talking about the power bullpen. That's nice, right?
Show.
He's the best reliever in baseball.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a show. I mean, listen, I would love to see the Guardians go on a bit of a run. I would love to see the Guardians.
You are lying. You are lying to the people. You are not telling the truth. You're not telling the truth because this thing right now, the way it looks, the Dodgers and the Yankees are the two best teams. That's what baseball wants to see. Don't say that the Guardians going on a World Series. Nobody wants that.
Well, let's see if Jayson Stark feels that way.
He believes what I believe, but he's going to pick the Phillies.
Cool.
Let's see. Let's bring in Jayson Stark of the Athletic. So Barker wants to see Dodgers and Yankees.
I finally want it.
I kind of like the Padres. I mean, I like Viva la différence. Padres and Guardians, I'd be happy with.
It's funny. Just finished recording our fabled Starkville podcast, and Ken Rosenthal picked Padres Guardians World Series.
Oh, there you go.
So wait, Doug Lanzo picked Padres Guardians World Series.
Really?
It would be a team that has never won the World Series versus a team that hasn't won since 1948. I'd watch that.
You would?
Oh, I would. Yeah,
I'd watch.
See, this is the thing.
There, but I would also watch it.
Yeah, no, this is I get the whole Dodgers Yankees thing. I obviously I get that, the weight of history.
Phillies Yankees would be a really good one.
Yeah, you know what though? It's always better, I think, when it's West Coast versus East Coast. That's just me.
So the guy didn't have to get on a plane to get there. Sure,
that's true. It's funny now that you mention. I never did feel that way.
Judge Ohtani in a World Series would be must watch.
Yeah,
that's what everybody wants to see.
Absolutely, Kevin. I don't know if they're going to get there. their offense is incredible, assuming Freddie Freeman's okay, and there's no telling what Ohtani might do in that setting. But I was talking to a GM of a team the day after they scored 20 runs. That was the Ohtani game in Miami. And we were talking about it, and he said, it's so weird. The first thing I thought about when that game was over, they just scored 20 runs, and I thought, okay, now who's pitching tomorrow? That's their
exactly.
That is their battle. That is going to be a huge challenge for them to try to get through 4 weeks of October, really having to piece together every single game pitching plan.
So, Jason, we're watching the Mets and the Braves right now, and Grant Holmes, has gotten off to a pretty good start here, replacing Chris Sale. How did we get to the point where we are playing a doubleheader? And by the way, it rained during the first game of this doubleheader. How did we get to the point that we are playing a doubleheader right now, and we've got a team in Arizona that is packing up to either go home or go on to the postseason? How do we do this? We've got enclosed stadiums. We've got weather. Really smart people. We got analytics running weather, for God's sake. We got khakis running weather. We should be able to figure out how we don't need to do this.
Yeah, we've got some bad looks going on. Today, Game 2, it's essentially a playoff game, and the Mets, how much do they care if they win? The guy pitching wasn't even on their 40-man roster when the first game began. Lindor's not playing, right? Pete Alonso's not playing. They're telling you it doesn't matter to them if they win, but it's a playoff game for the Braves. So that's a bad look. What happened Sunday? The Padres and the Brewers losing to put these forces in motion where these two teams had to play. Let me ask you something. What was in the Padres' best interest and the Diamondbacks and the Brewers' best interest?
Was
it to win those games yesterday?
No.
Or was it to lose those games and create more havoc for the teams they could possibly play in 2 days?
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
Yeah, so it's all because a hurricane was coming. The Mets didn't want to play Monday because they were playing Sunday Night Baseball. The Braves didn't want to play a doubleheader Tuesday because they had 3 huge gates. They'd sold out the house for this series. And Major League Baseball just let that happen. And you can say, well, the forecast wasn't a sure thing. Okay, that's true. But if you watched the Weather Channel, you knew a hurricane was coming, and this might happen. How can you gamble on what might happen with the weather when the alternative is this doubleheader? Tell me that.
No, I was thinking of even the possibility of neutral site games. I mean, it's been done before, and I'm with you. Look, I'm not saying that the Padres or the Brewers threw games, but you want to remove any element of doubt. This is what you want to do, so that people like me don't sit there and say, I wonder, and then talk about it on radio. You want to remove that doubt. That's why we started every game at the same time yesterday, to begin with.
Exactly. We're starting the last game of the season at the same time, except for the most important games, which are the day after the season. Oh, my God. Am I allowed to bring up the NFL?
Yes,
because
absolutely.
It was 2 seasons ago, the NFL stepped in 3 days in advance to move a game from Buffalo to Detroit because of weather.
Yep.
And they don't ask them. They consult with them. They also consult with the governor. They decide this is what we have to do. And then I don't think the teams have the power to say, no, we're not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a different sport. Like they just can't drop in a makeup game the day after the season. But all I'm saying is that in that instance, the league makes the calls. It doesn't seem like it ever happens that way in baseball. Maybe it will from now on. I hope so.
Yeah.
Jason, I got to be honest. I love it. I love chaos. I love the first game was maybe one of the best games I've watched all season. Like I understand your guys' point, and this probably should have never happened. You should forward thinking, that kind of thing, and be better at reading the weather. But man alive, if you're just a baseball fan and forget about being a New York or a Braves fan, you have to love the first game. Like I was on the edge of my seat. I was yelling at Jeff. You see Lindor sitting on the breaking ball, hit the 2-run homer like I was all fired up. It was so awesome. So I get your guys' point. But, man, being a baseball fan, I love this stuff.
Well, that's a whole different situation. Like, I love chaos. Okay?
Yeah.
I always root for chaos this time of year. That wasn't just chaos. That was awesome baseball theater. Mm-hmm. I ran through this on X, formerly Twitter, but the Braves entered the top of the eighth with better than a 93% win probability. Mm-hmm. Then the Mets entered the bottom of the eighth with better than a 92% win probability. Then the Braves entered the top of the ninth with a 91% win probability, and all those leads got blown. Now, somebody wrote back to me saying the odds of all three of them being blown in the eighth and ninth innings was less than 0.5% That was something to see, especially considering what that game meant. Oh, my God.
See, the commissioner's office is going, told you so. Like, you guys trust us, you'll get some of the best games in baseball. Look, I want to move on just a little bit, and I want to ask you about the Tigers and the Astros. And I really want to know, other than Scooble, how can they beat the Astros? Like, how would I even give them a chance, and you know what, to go to the Astros and think that they have a chance of beating them?
I'm with you. The whole Tigers story is mind-blowing. Mind-blowing because they were 10 games out of the wild card and 11 games behind the Twins on August 10th. They were 8 games under 500 on August the 10th, and they're still playing. And you just brought this up. So pitching, to a great extent, is why they're playing the game. They somehow or other had the second best starting pitcher ERA in their league after August 10th, which is amazing because they only have a one-man rotation. Yeah. Okay. And so I think the thing that makes them kind of dangerous is with a one-man rotation, they're so hard to prepare for. The Astros are so preparation-oriented. They're so about having a game plan to attack that opposing starter. They're not even going to know who the opposing starter is. So I think that makes this really interesting. But I've got Astros in 2.
Yeah, I mean, the only way I see this thing not turning out that way is, Josh Hader implodes. I mean, the Astros. I think the Astros have to lose this series more than Detroit can win it. I think.
You're on Alvarez too. If he's hurt, that might be a thing too.
Yeah,
that's a big factor.
Yeah.
And look, H.A. Hinch is really good at this job. People in Houston. I know there's a lot of subplots with that, but what he has done with that team and just pushing the right buttons is incredible. They have 7 pinch hits in the last week and a half.
Yeah.
The Yankees had 8 all season.
Yeah. Wow.
It's they're just constantly finding ways to have the right guy at the plate, and then that guy comes through. It's crazy to watch. Now, can they do that against the Astros? I don't know. You wouldn't think so, but that's their formula. It's fun.
Jayson, I'm wondering, are you surprised by the news out of San Francisco today? Maybe not that Farhan Zaidi was fired, but that Buster Posey has taken over as his, is going to be running the baseball operations for the team. Is one a surprise and one not, or does it kind of make sense?
Farhan was not a surprise.
Okay.
That one, a lot of people saw coming. He was pretty much signaling he was going to get fired.
Okay.
Buster, that's a little different. Now, Buster was obviously getting more involved. He had ownership's ear, and he obviously didn't like what he saw. And I don't know whether you guys ever have Farhan on. He's brilliant.
We've had him on a couple of times.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah,
he's brilliant. He's creative. He can find a bargain with anybody in baseball. But it felt like he was a guy who didn't have quite enough presence to lead, and didn't have quite enough feel for the non-analytics part of it, which is important in that market. It's just a reminder that not every brilliant, creative analytics genius is Andrew Friedman. Farhan was a fantastic number 2. It just felt like he wasn't a number 1. And so now you've got Buster. He'll be kind of the anti-Farhan, right? He's super bright, but a born leader. And I don't know about you. I don't know if I remember anybody following this career path: Rookie of the Year, MVP, batting title, won 3 World Series as a player, and now president of baseball ops. Who has done that?
Yeah, I mean, I can't.
It's pretty cool, though.
I can't think of it.
I mean, if you want to face your franchise that doesn't play, that'd be an easy way to do it, right?
That's a good face your franchise. He's going to need to bring in somebody who understands all the attention to detail that goes with the job. I think he's going to be a hardworking, big picture president of baseball ops. He's not going to be Dave Dombrowski doing everything. Mm-hmm. He's going to delegate to that number 2, whoever it is.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I can't wait to see how it plays out and just see if he could get recruits in there. I think that's the hardest thing, right, Jayson, is how hard it is for them to get really good players in there. Maybe Buster can sell it to them, and that's the way they do it. I want to get your thoughts. What's the industry think of the Blue Jays, how they're going to go about their offseason, what they should do in the offseason? Just what's the thoughts industry-wide about the Jays organization?
Okay, well, there's obviously been a lot of curiosity about whether they would make any changes. I don't know that we have a definitive answer to that, but I don't know. My impression is they like the manager. I don't think Mark has any interest in firing Ross. But this was a tough year. You'd think something has to change. It'll be fascinating to see what that is. They have to decide on Vlad and Bo, obviously. And if they can't sign them, what does that mean? There's a lot that goes with that. And then, just reconstructing the roster, you have to start with more offense. They were a team, they couldn't hit the ball over the fence. They couldn't generate any pressure on the bases. It's hard to score when you can't do either of those, right? So even assuming that Bo Bichette bounces back, don't they need, 2 significant bats?
Yep.
You think of the outfield, but third base works.
Yep. No, absolutely.
I think you play them wherever you play them, Jayson. I think that's where they're at. For me, I don't think you limit yourself by saying we need to get a third baseman who thumps or we need to get a left fielder who thumps. You get 2 thumpers, Jayson, get them in here, figure out where they play once they get here. I think that's the issue they're going to have in the offseason. And I've said this to Jeff, is how they pivot from a run-preventing team to a run-scoring team. Or as an organization. Can't be the easiest thing to buy into because they have bought into, we got to keep the other team from scoring and we're going to win a bunch of 3-1 games. And now they found out that's pretty hard to do. So, it's interesting to see how it plays out.
To be a playoff team, you've got to score against good pitching. They couldn't do it. And they've pivoted once from a bunch of thumpers to let's catch the ball over the field, to pivot back to we need more offense. They're almost certainly going to have to sacrifice some defense. Whether it's way too soon to know how they're going to go about it, but to find the kind of offense they're looking for, and to have those guys bring elite defense too, that seems like it's going to be tough to make that happen, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think without question. Last question before I let you run. I wanted to ask you about the Phillies, the state of the Phillies right now going into the postseason. Look, I think they're they're really well positioned here. I guess we have to make our picks. I'm going to pick the Phillies to win the World Series. I know it's not original, but you're much closer to the situation than we are. What are the state of the Phillies right now?
I think we've talked about them, about 6 times while I've been on. And the one thing that has not changed with me is I still think they have the most complete roster. They don't have an obvious weakness, whereas every other team in the field does. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if they're going to win the World Series or get swept in the first round. Really. They clinched like 3 months ago, and they played like it. The postseason is a different animal. They're very comfortable on that stage. They've got the best home field advantage in the sport. They've seen with their own eyes how series can turn both ways. 2 years ago, they had a 6-run ninth inning in St. Louis that changed the entire arc of the franchise. And then last year, it was all lined up for them to win the World Series, except they couldn't win one more game at home in the LCS against Arizona. And I think this is even a more unpredictable field. So I don't think that they're the favorite because I don't think anybody is really the favorite. But they still have the best roster. And I think actually the number 2 seed gives them the best path to not have to go through Padres, Dodgers, massive coast-to-coast travel.
Jason, with all that said, who you got? Who's winning the World Series?
I got Padres over Astros. What do you think?
I like that. I mean, I don't know how you – I don't know. We rarely, if any more, talk about the Astros. Maybe it's just because it's like Groundhog Day this time of the year. You just sort of expect them to be in there. I just don't know how you pick against them. I think that's where they're at as an organization. 7 years in a row, right? 7 years in a row they've gone to the – I mean,
That's right.
Yeah.
They're the furniture.
Yordan Alvarez will be the key, though, I think, Jason. That's the one guy.
He's one of the 5 best offensive players in the sport.
No question.
And they go as he goes. Altuve and Bregman and Tucker are all really good. Yordan is the guy who changes the game with one swing of the bat, and I don't know how he is. I think he's going to try to play, but I don't know how he is.
Yeah.
Jason, we're going to let you run, man. Terrific insight as always. Enjoy the postseason.
Yeah, you too. Happy October.
Talk soon. Thank you.
Absolutely. Take care. It's Jayson Stark of The Athletic.
That's a good pick.
His column, he does his annual Cy Young picks, his MVP picks. He does the Cy Yuck and the least valuable player selections. And just heads up if you're a Jays fan, the least valuable player.
Who was it?
Bo made the list. It was not. He was not the final.
Well,
guy. He was beaten up. He was beaten out, I think, by the entire
That's
Chicago
not
White
fair
Sox.
to Bo, though. He was hurt most of the year.
Yeah, he was.
You can't help that he got hurt, can he?
He was not good until he
Bad
got
luck.
hurt. Yeah. Anyhow, you got to read it to understand.
You're tough today.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying. I just reported something.
I'm just saying you're tough. You agreed with him.
He'd be one of the guys, I would say, the most disappointing players in baseball this year. Absolutely. There's no point saying that. Jai, you're all of a sudden, you're like, what did you like get some Kool-Aid on the way in here or something? All of a sudden, now you're trying to tell me that Chad Green can close and he's going to get 30 saves and Alejandro Kirk is going to be in the All-Star game as a catcher.
People that have listened to me know that I know better than what you're saying, and they know I'd never say that.
I'm just saying.
Sometimes your eyes don't lie.
There was.
Let's not overthink this. I don't need to pay 42 khakis to tell me that their projections will tell us that if he adds a split finger, he will eliminate the left-handed hitter. I don't need to hear that. When I can just go out and trade 6 of these dudes that ain't going to play on my team and matter for a dude that knows how in the 9th inning to shut the inning down, no matter if that dude's right-handed or left-handed. And
over-cacified.
There you go. And again, I owe it to my rotation and, quite frankly, a couple of them coaches who are throwing their head against the wall, trying to figure out who to stay competitive and at least act like they care with the dudes that they're bringing in late in the game, especially late in the season. So, yeah.
I'll mark you down as undecided.
Well, I mean, it's true, right? It's not. Again, this gets back to that thing where this is not hard. Like, don't overthink it. Chad Green's a good pitcher. Just not in the ninth inning. Like I'm not saying he's not really good and can help you big time from the sixth to the eighth inning. I know you weren't.
You're going off. I was kidding.
I know you weren't.
My tongue was firmly planted in cheek.
The question will be is if you had to trade Bo, would you?
Right now?
That's the question. Well, I mean, if I can sign Willie Adames cheaper than I can sign other guys to hit fourth or fifth in my lineup, and he plays short.
Before I do anything, I got to know whether I'm going to sign Vladdy. That's everything.
I think they've already told us without telling us.
Yeah. Well, I need to have.
Well, they're not going to tell you.
Nope, but I need to.
You're going to know without them telling you.
No, but I'm saying I'm saying that because I guarantee you, Willie Adames' first question is going to be, okay, who's going to be there?
I don't agree with that.
We've gone down this road.
This is his one and only deal.
Yeah.
If the Blue Jays give him 20 more than the second place team, he's coming to the Blue Jay land. He will be a Blue Jay knocking on that door going, boy, I love this place.
Yeah. No, I don't.
You want to bet?
Yeah. I don't think that, first of all, I don't think they'd be blowing anybody out of the water by $20 million.
Well, I'm just saying.
Willie Adames.
Willie Adames is a good player.
Yeah, anyhow, we're going to break and come back and take a look at the postseason.
You were just.
No, we're going to break and come back
yeah,
and look at the postseason.
I don't want to.
All right. Well, it's Blair and Barker on a Monday.
That's Blair.
We'll take a break and come back and see what Barker wants to do.
Well, everybody knows
tuned. Who knows where this could go?
Everybody knows who you're picking.
Stay tuned. Who knows where this will go? It's Blair and Barker on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and Sportsnet.
Johnson ready. His first pitch to Lindor. Swinging a high fly ball, well hit right center. Harris going back. It's on the way. It is gone. Into the Braves bullpen in right center field. Francisco Lindor has an MVP moment. Whether he wins one or not, he has just put the Mets back on top. 8-7, a two-run home run, his 33rd of the year. He's not only hugged by Marte, Marte lifts Lindor off of his feet. This is an unbelievable baseball game. The Mets have taken an 8-7 lead here in the ninth inning.
Well, we can certainly argue whether or not it's a great idea that the Mets and Braves are playing a doubleheader today as a result of decisions made by both teams and by Major League Baseball. But I'll tell you what, Game 1 was some type of entertaining. The New York Mets beating the Atlanta Braves 8-7. They were down 3-0 in the game, came back to the score 6 runs in an inning, gave up the lead again, and then regained the lead. So they have punched their ticket to the postseason. The Braves are currently leading 1-0 in the third inning.
Yeah, they're going to mess around and get beat by somebody nobody's ever heard of, too.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
Chris Sale did not make the start for the Braves because of back spasms, but the Braves are currently up 1-0. If they win, they go on to the postseason. If they lose, the Arizona Diamondbacks get a chance to go back to the World Series. Again, it is Blair and Barker. It is the final half hour of our final 2-hour show. We'll be back tomorrow from 3 to 4 Eastern on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and Sportsnet 360. Want to talk about the postseason a little bit. Now, unlike you, I had the courage to put my postseason picks down on paper. So it's in the not my postseason picks. Sorry, my season picks. We did this on Sportsnet.ca, part of our roundtable. So I'm going to tell you how wrong I was in my regular season picks. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is how wrong I was. I had the Orioles, Twins, Rangers, Yankees, Astros, and Blue Jays going to the postseason. I had the Braves, Cubs, Dodgers, Phillies, D-backs, and Padres. So I'm doing okay there in the National League. My World Series pick was the Atlanta Braves over the Houston Astros.
Wow.
My award picks. American League MVP. Let's just not do that.
Who's your Cy Young Award winner in the American League?
Cy Young winner in the American League, Tariq Skubal.
Okay.
Kevin Gossman. Yeah, I got AL MVP Adley Rutschman, AL Cy Young Kevin Gossman, AL Rookie of the Year Evan Carter. Shut out. NL MVP Ronald Acuna Jr., NL Cy Young Zach Wheeler, Rookie of the Year Jackson Merrill. So there you go. Jackson Merrill or Paul Skeens, National League Rookie of the Year for you?
Skeens.
Yeah.
It's not even close for me.
Well, I don't know.
Skeens day.
He doesn't play a position. Jackson Merrill plays a position. I'm just saying. Shohei Ohtani doesn't play a position. I'm just saying. I'm just telling you. Jackson Merrill's got to play every day.
Sometimes things that you say don't warrant me giving you a response.
Well, that was your response
Right,
to why
here it
Shohei
is.
Ohtani's not an MVP because he doesn't play every day.
That's because the
The bases are closer.
The choice that won it in game 161 to get the Mets to the playoffs
that was game
guy I was
163.
picking. No, that was 161.
Oh, yeah, because they had the rain game.
Again, I don't get again.
All right.
It's like
I just wanted to make sure you were still.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure you're still on top of it, and I know you are.
Those are terrible picks, by the way.
No, the National League
They're
picks were
awful.
great.
All them picks were awful.
All right, Atlanta,
you
Cubs,
did.
Dodgers, Phillies,
You picked
Diamondbacks,
the
and
Cubs
Padres. I picked the Padres.
because the manager walks on water, and you're a front runner. So that's why I know you. Yeah, we could go down the list there. It wasn't outside the box. They were the National Leagues. I think the National League's a little easier to pick the American League.
Because the better teams in the National League.
Yep.
All right. So now, now that we know how wrong I was, I can't believe the hell made me think the Blue Jays had a shot at the wild card. Other teams, a couple other guys picked the Blue Jays.
Well, I mean, let's be fair. If we said the Tigers are going to make the playoffs 3 months ago, you'd have thrown a piece of paper at me.
Yeah. By the way, before you go on, are you surprised the Twins aren't rinsing Rocco Baldelli after that?
Maybe they will. Maybe
they're not going to.
Still
Derek
having
Falvey said he's not. They're not going to.
Maybe it's not his fault. Injuries to key guys.
Yeah.
I'm not. Firing the manager
asking.
Sometimes is a waste of time.
Well,
I've tried to tell everybody this. I mean, I know it's the easiest thing to do, and
it is.
Fans want to yell and
fans
scream.
Want red meat.
Absolutely. Most of the time, it has nothing to do with the manager. Good teams rarely see the manager. You couldn't point him out. That's just the way it is.
That's nonsense.
That's the way it is.
That's nonsensical.
Absolutely.
That's nonsensical.
How many?
That's nonsensical.
I hate to drop this on you. I'm not going to.
That's
the last show.
Good teams don't know their manager.
It's the coaching staff matters more than the manager.
Oh, I agree. No, I don't agree with that.
The manager's got to be a good salesman.
All right. Anyhow, let's talk about the postseason. I'm not going to disagree.
Dodgers over the Yankees.
Okay, let's move on. That's it for Blair and Barker today.
I mean, it's simple. That's an easy one for me. That's
Dodgers
wishful thinking. Yeah. I want the Judge Ohtani thing.
See, I am going to say the Dodgers are not going to win a playoff series. It's going to be the Phillies. I think it'll be the Phillies.
Reading those picks out that you made at the beginning of the season, you obviously are really good at picking this. So we won't listen to a word of those picks that you just made.
There are a couple of years in a row I got the World Series picks right. Both teams in the World Series. I got them right on Sportsnet.ca.
You picked Texas.
No, but I got Atlanta the year they won, and I got whoever was the year before. I picked Houston to win one year, and they did, which is not that hard because Houston's good. I'm going to go. I'm kind of with Jason in this. I think the Phillies. The Phillies are.
He didn't pick the Phillies.
But I'm saying every team's got issues. But I think the Phillies, top to bottom, are the best team. I'm taking the Phillies. I would love to see them. I'd love to see the Padres get in. I think it'd be a hoot. But I'm going to say Phillies, and this is going to be a boring World Series, but I'm going to say Phillies and Astros. I don't trust the Yankees. I know those two guys are good. And I don't know. I just don't see how the Dodgers – I don't see how they make their pitching work. I just don't see how they make their pitching work.
If Freddie Freeman's healthy, they have 3 Hall of Famers in a row. Flaherty, Kopech, and Edman that they went out and got at the trade deadline because that's what you're supposed to do when you have a need. You fill them. Those 3 guys sort of make up for the woes that they might have, and you expect your offense, who has the 3 Hall of Famers, and then you do have a supporting cast. Oh, by the way, Teoscar Hernandez, who will hit 3rd or 4th and has 30-some homers. He'll play a part in what they're doing in the playoffs. And the Yankees have the best offense in the American League. They have
the 2 best hitters.
Every once in a while, if not now, win.
Yeah.
And I'm in that stage with the Yankees. So you got at times when he's healthy, the best starting pitcher in the sport. You got the two
but
best hitters in the sport on the same team.
Let me ask you
and
this.
you've pieced it together pretty good for your bullpen. And most people up until the World Series have to go to Yankee Stadium, and I think that's going to be a factor. I'm sort of all in. If not now, when?
Well, that was the case last year too.
No.
And the year before.
They didn't have Soto playing right field, hitting behind Judge last year.
What is your what is your confidence that Garrett Cole's healthy?
About as good as it's going to get. Like, he will give you everything he's got because of the moment. Yeah, I think you can count on that. You ain't going to see him holding up 4 fingers walking dudes.
You know what? They're a sloppy team. Same thing. Now, I can see them staying alive longer. I just can't go all in on the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that about anybody.
I can see the Yankees.
Astros with health, with key players. Guardians don't hit all the time. Yankees run into outs.
That's different.
Orioles have young talent. They do have an ace in Corbin Burns. Kansas City, rotation's really good. They got one of the best players in Bobby Witt Jr. You should say they have a chance. They rarely, if ever, beat themselves. They got a veteran catcher, which is what you need to have success. They got a superstar. They got a really good rotation. How come we ain't talking about Kansas City? Because the Yankees are better. And you'd have to go to Yankee Stadium to do it. It's a thing. So you have your opinion. I have mine.
Yeah, yours is wrong.
Well,
that's okay.
You picked. Who'd you pick?
I don't even know who I picked.
The Padres and somebody else.
No, I picked the Phillies. I said the Phillies.
And who else?
I'm going to go with the Phillies.
The Astros.
Phillies and Astros.
Yeah. So the flavor of the month. And
who's the flavor of the month?
The Padres.
I didn't pick them. I said the Phillies.
I
said the Phillies and Astros. Clean your ears out.
The Phillies that's an easy pick. Going on a limb.
Oh, the Dodgers and Yankees, they're really going out on a limb there.
The Dodgers don't have much starting pitching. Freddie Freeman's hurt. Yeah.
You're just
and expectations are off the charts, which a lot of players have trouble living up to.
All the reasons I said they can't do it.
Well, this is more wishful thinking than I actually think they're going to do it.
All right. Okay. You're entitled to your wishful thinking.
Yeah. I want Ohtani Judge.
A Dodgers, that would be cool. That would be in terms of eyeballs on the television set, all that stuff.
It's really the only way Major League Baseball is going to maximize eyeballs to the set. Yeah. Is those two teams in the 7 biggest games of the season. So I'm wishful thinking that.
Yeah. It would be fun.
I want it.
It would be fun.
It would be.
It would be fun. It would be a lot of fun. And it would be, internationally, it would be
crazy.
Would be huge. It would be crazy good.
So I want it.
But I just don't see it happening.
I want Cole throwing at him in Game 1 of the World Series. Or intentionally walking him in Game 4.
4 fingers.
Can't get him out.
Go.
Like, I want that. So it's wishful thinking. And it's almost impossible come playoff time to root for the Phillies. Their fan base, that stadium, how can you come here and play? Like, we're not grown men that have never played baseball before. So it's hard to root for. So I'm not going to. I love Bryce Harper.
It's easy to root for the Yankees?
No, but I'm more wishful thinking because I'm a big fan of Judge and Ohtani. So it's more about the two individuals than it is the two teams.
Okay. Wishful thinking aside, forget the wishful thinking.
Yeah.
You got to pick two teams.
Dodgers,
forget
Yankees.
the wishful.
I'm tired of picking the Astros. I don't want to pick the Phillies, who are, I don't know how you go through an entire season like the Phillies and think you're just going to roll through the playoffs. I just don't know how you're going to do that. So I'm not.
But I mean, the Dodgers are kind of in the same.
Not really.
Way.
They were fighting till the end with the Padres to win the division.
Yeah,
like
but
they were fighting and clawing to win it.
But it was almost like they woke up with a week left in the season.
They still had to wake up.
Yeah, I guess.
Phillies, they're still napping.
The Yankees kind of cruised. They didn't have a lot to play for.
No, they've
had
top seed in the American League's a big deal, right? I'd rather play a game whatever at home than I would the Guardians, the Astros. Like, see, nice try though. I see what you're trying to do there. I like my picks for baseball's sake. Yeah, you're too predictable. I could have.
You really went on a limb with Yankees, Dodgers.
I could have told you that. Yeah, more people probably would pick the Phillies, Astros than the Dodgers, Yankees.
Probably.
So take it back.
What?
What you just said.
No,
because it's not true. I like offense. Those two teams have it. And it's up to the managers and, the behind-the-scenes khakis to not overthink it and screw it up for them. So
don't forget
I want to see it happen.
The Dodgers are king.
So bad.
The Dodgers are king khakis. Though.
I know.
I mean, they're run by khaki
but
gods.
You know as well as I do, you can't screw up the first three guys in that lineup. Like,
well,
what are you going to tell them?
No, that
Go,
is true.
Never mind.
That is true.
Just walk to the plate and do what you normally do.
All right, so we're going to be joined by Buck Martinez tomorrow.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, we will be hosting Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro's media availability on Wednesday. It's going to start around 11 with Mark Shapiro speaking first and then Ross Atkins speaking second. Again,
see, I like that.
We are led to believe that, the fact that they're holding this news conference during a day where there's postseason baseball being played would suggest that there is no major announcement. And indeed, I think most people have forecast has kind of been that there won't be any won't be any significant changes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we need to. The thing we need to be focusing on is do they sign Mark Shapiro to an extension because he does have a year left in his contract.
Maybe they've already made up their mind they're going to sign Vladdy and go out and get a thumper. Maybe they've already made up their mind. That's why they're not.
I will caution people about this front office. It's pretty leak proof, and as much as it drives us nuts that they're not as open as we might like them to be. Our fans might like them to be. They're under no obligation to be open. And I will say that they are very good at they're very good at not leaking. So yeah, I will caution people about that. We haven't heard a lot from Vladdy's agents. I mean, Vladdy's come out and said every player wants to stay. Vladdy's come out and said that, but we haven't really heard anything conclusive. It's easy. If I want to make the reporters go away, I'm going to say, of course, I want to stay. It's 101. If you're in a team and somebody asks if you want to stay, unless you really want to get your ass traded, say, of course, I want to stay. So I don't really pay a lot of attention to whether one guy says he really wants to stay and another guy kind of shrugs his shoulder. I just don't.
One question to ask the president, what would it be? One question.
Why haven't you signed Vladdy yet when almost everybody could sit down and come up with a dollar figure that would work? And if you haven't, and the fact that you haven't signed him yet, does that mean deep down you aren't interested in signing him? That's what I need to know. Why hasn't it been done yet? And now, do I expect the full answer to the second one? Hell no. But why haven't you signed Vladdy yet? And do you want to sign
Do you
Vladdy?
expect him to be a little bit more open than normal?
No.
Should he be?
No. I mean, here's from a fan point of view, he should be open.
I'm not saying give away secrets. I'm saying,
I mean, what's open? What's he going to say? You know what? We want to sign Vladdy. We're hoping we can come to an agreement. Okay, does that count as being open?
No.
I guess you could say that.
I think a little peek into the future would be nice, which rarely, if ever, happens with him because he's very good at the way he speaks, which he should be. There's a reason why he's been around forever. But I just think maybe this year's a little different. The way it ended,
maybe.
How much money they spent.
I mean,
same problems they've had for the last couple of years. Is the same problem they had this year.
I will say this: the way this organization reacted to what happened last year has left me totally confused about how they're going to react to this year.
That's fair.
It will.
That's fair.
I mean, I can't say I can't put it any simpler. I know what I expect to hear. I know what I expect not to hear. I'm sure they will. They'll apologize. I mean, again, Ross has already done that. He did that in the middle of the year. But I don't know. I know the fans want to hear something, and I'm sure in a perfect world, we'd all like to hear something to get us excited about next year. I just don't know if you can do it now and have people believe it. I just don't know. And I know Buck talked about this yesterday, and I think he speaks for just about everybody. The first thing they need to do, I think the first thing they need to do is get Vladdy signed. If you get Vladdy signed, you send that sends a message to everybody. And it's weird. See, fans realize, and this is what complicates it. Fans realize that ownership is spending money. Like, they do. And I think that's what makes it difficult for fans is you're spending all this money as a front office, yet at no point have you come close to signing this homegrown guy who wants to be here and who this year has turned into a top 10 hitter, top 10 offensive player, top 5 offensive player in the American League. That is the nut of the issue here. If it was that ownership isn't spending money, then fans would go, well, God, they're just not spending any money. They're not going to get Vladdy signed. But fans are looking at this and saying, the only multi-year contract of substance you've given out to one of your own guys, again, the Bo Bichette thing, that was easy. This is what you're going to make in arbitration. Let's give a little here. Let's give a little here. We'll cover off your arbitration years. Randall Grichuk's contract is the only kind of internal. And fans are smart. Fans know that ownership is spending a lot of money. Fans know that ownership has spent a lot of money in the ballpark. Yet there's been absolutely no indication that this front office wants to sign Vladdy.
So you don't expect hearing this is not acceptable.
Oh, of course they'll say. You mean losing with this payroll? Absolutely, they'll say it's not acceptable, and it's not acceptable. But that doesn't get to that doesn't help you move on from this year. It was not acceptable. It's easy to say that this year was not acceptable. Not so easy to say this is what we're going to do to get better next year. And you can't come out and say we're going to go and sign Pete Alonso and all these guys. You're not going to come out and be that obvious because those guys are somebody else's property. Signing Vladdy, if Vladdy's your guy, you don't have anybody competing with you for Vladdy right now. If you wanted to get Vladdy signed, you could get Vladdy signed by Wednesday and announce it. I mean, you could. Nobody else is competing for Vladdy right now. This to me is the whole. That's what Wednesday's about, and I don't know. I don't pretend to know how it's going to go in that regard. I don't pretend to know what's going to be said in that regard.
We'll have something to talk about anyway.
We will have something to talk about. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget 3 to 4 Eastern tomorrow on Sportsnet 590, The Fan of Sportsnet. Enjoy your rest of your day.